Happy Friday, everybody. It's Invisible Walls 131. This is not Shane. He's somewhere outside Vegas. We sent him
There's
out.
a lot of desert there.
We sent him into the Mojave last week to read all your comments, and he hasn't come back. This is Marcus Beer, and we have a fantastic show for you today. Lots of really cool stuff. There's a lot of great games coming out. So let's push on. And joining me today is Ryan Push It Real Good Stevens.
Yeah, how about that?
That was just awesome. And then having seen you dance today, I mean, you're a triple threat, aren't you?
Unfortunately, the dancing's under embargo.
The dancing is under embargo, and that's a good thing because we need ratings, good ratings. Justin Spears here.
Yo.
Brooks Huber.
What's going on?
And the lightning storm of love that is Patrick Morales.
G'day.
All right, let's crack on. All right, last week was a good week to be a PC gamer because BlizzCon was happening, and Patrick, you were down there.
Correct.
There were lots of announcements: Cataclysm, Diablo, some StarCraft mini games that are coming, like a Peggle type game and a Bejeweled game.
Wow!
What the hell went on?
It's surprising because in the past, Blizzard has always supported the fan community with tools to make their own map mods. But I guess this year is a new trend for Blizzard. They themselves are going to start making some map mods on their own, including their take on the widely popular Dota game that has taken the world by storm.
When Blizzard make their own map mods, isn't that basically an expansion pack?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, expansion packs kind of entail like a new single-player campaign, new content. Map mods are more just like a little micro repurposing of existing assets to make a new kind of a little self-contained game.
Have they talked about how much they're going to start charging for these? Are they going to be $1, 50 cents, $2 or whatever, or are they going to be $9, 10, $15?
Actually, they're all completely free, so hats off to them for giving fans, all that content.
Do you think they'll make StarCraft Ghost in one of their mods?
That I'm not so sure. They won't comment on that. But yeah, BlizzCon was a lot of fun. I'm a big Blizzard fan. Although I'd have to say this year compared to previous years probably wasn't as exciting as past.
Is this because you're older and more curmudgeonly?
Well, not only that, but they didn't really have much in the way of new announcements. They had new information for Diablo 3.
Well, some of the announcements were even a little disappointing because it's like, here's the Demon Hunter, sweet. It's the last class, and I think people were expecting there to be more than 5, but they said here's the final class.
Actually, when they did announce that the Demon Hunter was the 5th and last class, I was like, that's all?
Also, we're letting you into the beta. Well, 1,000 of you.
Yeah, that was a major buzzkill. If people haven't caught wind of this yet, during the closing ceremonies, they announced to the BlizzCon public that they would be doing a Diablo 3 beta, of course, but only to 1,000 randomly picked people.
1,000 worldwide.
I don't know worldwide or if it's North America, but that was still a pretty huge letdown considering all the people that showed up.
Yeah, hint, it's probably not you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Patrick, StarCraft 2's out, Cataclysm's nearly here. Let's talk Diablo 3.
Yeah, Diablo 3, it's super solid. I mean, if you're a fan of Diablo 2, Lords of Destruction, it feels like you're stepping into a familiar pair of shoes, as it were.
But you got to play as the new Demon Hunter?
Yeah, so the Demon Hunter, I guess you could call it like a little amalgam of the Amazon and the Assassin from Diablo 2. Very cool ranged class, lots of cool tricks and gadgets you could use. The gameplay feels very super solid. It feels pretty much in line with, the old school isometric dungeon crawler that,
So you've got to play this game a couple times now. Would you say the monk is now still the biggest standout new thing character-wise?
I'd say in terms of just
playability
mechanics, the monk kind of feels the most different, but they all feel universally solid. Their new rune system that they announced in the past years, they've brought back here. This time people can try it out. Basically, you can, if you played WoW, you can, how you could glyph your skills to do different things. The runes kind of carry out a similar purpose in that they are basically modifiers to your skills. It really lets you kind of play around with the system a little bit, with the physics, like create these cool little skills that you can, I guess they're just stand in for builds. It's really neat.
No, that's cool. Did you get to jump into the PvP at all?
Can you take people's ears?
Yeah,
you can take people's ears. You can take people's ears. The PvP, what they're doing this time is that they're segregating it into its own little kind of battlegrounds. So there's no more PvP where you can duel someone outside of town. It's in a separate arena where they're actually doing a separate set of balance tweaks, so that even though one skill might be overpowered in the cooperative game, it might act completely different in the PvP game, which is actually a change.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What are the Imperial security codes for this sector? The security codes.
All right, next up, a sequel to a game that really sort of like divided people a couple of years ago. Force Unleashed 2. Ryan, you've been playing it.
Yes, I conquered that game.
Yes.
You saw that tape.
That tape has been destroyed.
There's a lot of people who are not happy with this game.
There's also a lot of people not happy with our review, but it's a pretty middling experience. You have all these cool powers that don't really amount to much as you go on a straight path towards some really bad cutscenes.
So is it more linear than the first? Because the first one was friggin' linear. That's one of the problems I have with it.
You're crazy. The first one seems like a fucking MMO compared to this game.
Oh my god, that's because the first one was pretty linear. I mean,
but there was still like a map. You could there was more objectives. Here, even the combat arenas are, a lot of them are in hallways and stuff, and then occasionally you'll get into a more open area, but then it'll be blocked out, and then I think in one point you're in an engine room and flames kind of come out of the floor, and that's was probably one of the highlights of something actually standing out.
Hang on, wasn't that scene in Attack of the Clones or something?
Probably. I mean, there's not that many locations. The first game had a lot of variety of enemies, but even if the first game did not exist, this game in a vacuum is just kind of like a little kind of a subpar experience. You have some cool abilities. You have a couple of opponents to use them against, but it's kind of hard to keep motivated through the story, through the actual mechanics, because there's not really much going on. They just throw a bunch of stormtroopers at you, and occasionally these droids with these repetitive quick time finishing events that play out for far too long, and you see them far too often. Yeah, it's fun, mind controlling people and making them fight for you. It's fun pushing people away, but that starts to wear thin when that's all you're doing.
So let's talk
and
about,
it's being parceled out in such little bits at a time.
Let's talk about the powers. What are the Jedi powers? Do they have force push in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. What's added is, you can throw your lightsabers, you can repel people, you can throw them around like the rag dolls. They added the Jedi mind tricks, and now you can push both analog sticks in to go like super crazy Jedi rage Hulk mode, which I didn't really do too often.
You can fuse with other Jedi.
you can crash jack other Jedi.
Because when you look at the Jedi, you think, the Jedi are going to go absolutely, batshit crazy in berserker mode.
Well, I mean, the more interesting thing in the game was can you clone Jedi or not, but that kind of takes it's not really, it's brought up from time to time, but the main character, Starkiller, he's just like, gotta find my girlfriend, she's so hot, don't care about the rebellion.
Wow, do the veins pop in his head just like they are with you right now?
Totally. Yes.
Wow.
And then you rescue the General Koda, who I remember not being such a douchebag in the first game, and now he's just like barking. He's basically your like controller. He's always in your earpiece, being like, "Go kill more stormtroopers." I'm blind.
What a dick.
Well, I got to admit, I haven't played this yet because I was playing Fable 3 all day yesterday.
Hey, play the demo. A lot of people are big Star Wars fans. You're still gonna have an okay time with this game. It's not broken. It's less buggy than the first game.
At least that's one thing, I suppose.
It's not the longest game. It's probably like 6 or 7 hours. And there's some challenge modes that actually kind of highlight how bad some of the game design actually is. Because I did the platforming challenge mode, and there's not even any height to anything. It's literally just jumping from small rotating island to small rotating island.
At least they rotate, right?
So
that's about it.
What were LucasArts thinking? I mean, they've gone on this PR offensive over the last 12 months.
Well, the first game.
I bet they were thinking that
the first game sold really well, and was for some people it was probably too complex. Like place thermal detonators at 4 points on a map. What? I just want to kill fucking stormtroopers. The problem here is they don't have the outline of like a movie where they can go scene to scene and copy something. Here it's they just have these set pieces, and they try to like stretch them out as much as possible, and you're just repeating the same. Like Johnny played a bit of it, and it's kind of cool. There's a part where there's like these giant balls that you can pick up and use like bowling balls to knock people down. But by the 5th time you do this, it's not really that special anymore. And then the bosses are the same thing. They're all kind of have a little bit of a puzzle element, but you have to redo the exact same thing multiple times. And I won't even talk about the last
Sounds
battle.
like
It's
Castlevania.
ridiculously horrible.
Sorry.
All right, so there you
Castlevania's
go.
probably a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I just meant the boss things. No, I feel like for this game, they're like, I mean, the first game sold so well, it has Star Wars attached to it. There's a minimum bar that you have to hit in quality to get
you have
millions
to
and
step up
millions
from
of
the last
sales.
one. You have to fix all the bugs.
No,
you have
the-
to make it
Oh,
less
they,
linear.
no, people
No, they
bought
stream- they
it.
streamlined
They
it.
won. They won
streamlined
already.
it. They made it. I think they tried to make it more accessible because you still have all these cool.
More like
powers
Lego Star
and
Wars,
stuff.
but with,
But
you know.
there's a
I
leveling
love
Not
system.
the
Star
Legos.
Wars.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about Lego Star Wars because that was
That's
fun.
a better game. But there's a leveling system that you can almost ignore because you're so powerful from the get-go. I'm not saying you won't die, and like there will be some parts where you fall down a pit or something like that, but with the generous save system and everything, you can just soldier through this.
I've spent the last 12, 18 months following all the stuff that was it Hayden Blackman and his team have been saying about this game.
But he just jumped ship. He just started his own studio.
Well, I don't give a shit because he was still commenting about this game and talking about it, and he was the exec producer on it, and he was saying, we've learned all the lessons from the first one. It's going to be better. It's going to be longer. You're going to have more choices. It's going to be less buggy. Well, apparently the only thing they've delivered is that it's less buggy. And now, I mean, you're pretty much convincing me to go and return the collector's edition that I dropped 70, 80 bucks on with Amazon yesterday. I might just return it to them because I don't know if I want to open this fucking thing.
If
Just
you want to
keep the extra stuff, sell the actual box on sell the game on eBay.
Yeah, but
Keep
it's
your
not it's not worth $20 for a Starkiller 2 gig USB card.
What treachery is this? Another trick of the gods.
No, my son. It is me.
Alrighty, next up, this is kind of shocking to me, but who knew there were PSP games coming out?
Right.
And we're going to talk about one. Brooks, you've been playing God of War: Ghosts of Sparta. How is it?
I haven't only been playing it. I reviewed it, and I absolutely loved
Well,
it.
don't you have to play it to review it?
Yeah, you make
Not
it sound
around
like
here.
it's-
We just have interns. We have interns do all the capture. We pretty much just make
yeah,
shit up.
I just get whipped.
Write a script.
Finish it. I had a really good time with it. Ready at Dawn did an outstanding job, like with their first one, Chains of Olympus. Production values through the roof, graphically, everything. Just the whole game really impressed me.
Does it plug into God of War 3 as a continuation of the story or a side story or?
Where it fits in the whole God of War spectrum, the story-wise, it fits in right after God of War 1. As soon as you take the throne and you're the new God of War, and before 2 has a chance to begin, because Chains of Olympus is a prequel to everything, he starts having these visions of his long-lost brother, Deimos. And he blames himself for the loss because his little Spartan buddies, little Spartan boys, Deimos was taken away from the family at a young age because it was a prophecy that the one that was marked, the marked warrior, the
You're breaking
marked
my
boy.
heart, Brooks. It's
This is emotional.
It
right
is,
here.
and so he was torn away from him, and Kratos is like, I got to get him back at any cost. So that's what sets
Is
up
he
the
the final
story.
boss?
Wait, spoilers.
I'm just guessing. I don't know.
You are reunited with your long lost brother, and then Brother Love goes down, and then they tag team something together.
Oh, well, that's
So let's just leave it
Well,
at that.
there you go. I mean, seriously.
So I'm
you
kind of
can't
afraid to
really-
ask what the sex mini game is this time around.
The brothel. Well,
Well, hang on. Brother love and tag teaming. Can't you draw your own conclusions?
That's
It was
why I'm
his
a little
21st
afraid.
birthday, you know,
They're a
so-
close-knit family.
you guys just have sick minds.
Hey, vice is nice, but incest is best. All right, so tell us more. Is
Okay.
this a total slaughter fest? I mean, you
Yeah,
gotta kill lots of
you know,
things.
it's very light on puzzles. I actually came across very few puzzles. I didn't really realize that until towards the end, because God of War 3 had that huge mind-bending fuck puzzle. I couldn't get around that whole garden thing. This
Oh,
one is
that,
just
yeah.
remember that where you
The
had
cube,
to,
was, the cube was cool too, but yeah, the garden
3D,
and
2D
it's like
garden.
Echochrome.
Oh gosh, that was
That was
crazy.
funny.
I never got stumped in Ghost of Sparta. It was just a complete combat fest the whole way through, and I absolutely loved it. And they didn't introduce any new magic that is even worth mentioning. The alternate weapon is a Spartan shield and spear. Even that didn't impress me too much. It's just the blades all the way through.
Did you have to swim at any point in the game?
Well, it takes place partly in Atlantis, so you are swimming
Okay.
through these tunnels. and-
In Chains of Olympus, there's literally like a 90-second segment you do swimming, and I felt like they just were like, oh, we have to have a swimming section because you
Yeah.
don't it was the only time. So I was just curious if they felt like they had to hit all the God of War notes.
Oh no,
Kratos looks so sexy when he's wet.
Yes, those bulging
Just
biceps.
comes off this end. There was another aerial portion of the game that I thought was really cool, where you have to dive down after some winged beast and perform combat in the air and avoid these gust winds. That was actually pretty neat.
So
So the variety is there, and you tackle a whole bunch of different environments. You go through a volcano, Atlantis, hell.
Is the camera spot on? Because that's what I mean. That's the thing with these games where you don't have especially on the PSP, where there's not even the option of the second analog stick.
No,
Sometimes they try to cushion it into the shoulder buttons or something, but
no, it's perfect.
They have it placed intelligently.
And they even
for all
borrowed
the
some of
scenes.
the camera elements from 3, where you get that zoomed in closeness, where he goes through those narrow crackways, just
Cool.
for dramatic effect. But yeah, camera was never an issue. Boss battles were outstanding. The first one, when you think it's over, it continually comes back to haunt you throughout the first 3 hours of the game, which I really felt fascinating.
Okie dokie. Rock Band 3. Patrick, you've been playing Rock Band 3.
Yes.
This is I think this is the final one. Have they announced this is the final one? Or I missed
It's not like a trilogy.
I don't know if
No,
it's
not
the final
necessarily
one.
a trilogy,
It's
but
the
I think,
latest one.
You know, I think they've said that they can't really go much further with the amount of stuff they're adding, and it's just a case of music from here on in. Or maybe I'm just making shit up because I've had too much Coke Zero.
I think
Remember to say 0 this time.
the last Guitar Hero game that came out, I think, is the last for that studio.
Well, it's just
that
as
shut
well
down.
because that sold 80,000 units week 1, and that franchise is just dead.
Yeah, Rock Band, on the other hand, this is just the latest in the series. And kudos to them for not releasing as much games as fucking Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Well, we did have the glory of Green Day.
Yeah, I mean, but it had, Green Day, Beatles, that's it, you know? And then just the core Rock
Metallica?
Band games.
That was Guitar Hero.
Ah,
And it's not often you hear Green
Thank
Day
you.
and Beatles in the same sentence.
Right. But yeah, Rock Band 3, you know, the way I look at it, every time a new music game comes out, I find it harder and harder and harder to find reasons to pick up the newest one, just because usually they have, small incremental upgrades. But Rock Band 3 really steps it up. It improves upon, Rock Band's fundamental gameplay in so many ways, all while adding these new ways to kind of interface with the game. Like the biggest feature is the Pro Mode, where it introduces these crazy new instruments that are pretty close to the real thing.
Cowbell?
No cowbell just yet.
Fail.
But
Triangle.
But you do have keyboards, and you do have a new guitar peripheral.
They have Rock Band Liberace. That'll be next.
Not quite yet, but I'm sure you could play some Elton John tunes here and there.
That's not right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, they bring the piano. It's another keyboard. Yeah, it's another peripheral you have to buy. Mm-hmm. Is it worth it?
You know what? The good thing about Rock Band 3 is that you completely opt into the Pro Mode stuff.
It's kind of hard, right? It's kind of a...
You know what? It is hard, but after spending a little bit more time with the keyboards and not the guitar, we didn't have that for too long. But after spending a little bit more time with the keyboards and just, committing yourself to a song, it actually becomes pretty cool just trying to learn a song by itself. And it does take a little bit getting used to, and the trainers in the game won't necessarily get you up to the level of proficiency of, say, playing for real or, being a concert pianist, what have you. But it definitely gives you enough to play the songs that are cool and familiar to you and the ones that are in the game.
So I bought the first 2 rock bands. I bought Beatles Rock Band, Green Day Rock Band. I'm a Rock Band junkie, say, hypothetically, because I'm not. And I buy Rock Band 3 for the Pro Mode. All my back catalogue of music, does that work in Pro Mode? Have they got select titles that they're pushing and upgrading?
So right now they've built a back end where the Pro Mode drums will carry over into every single song in the Rock Band catalog, but right now they have not extended that support to Pro keyboard and guitar, so you might have to wait a little bit longer for DLC for that. But Rock Band 3 is a super solid installment. I'd say it's probably the best music game you could get right now.
Good song selection, too.
Yeah, a great song selection. I mean, harmonics.
It's like, what, 80 tracks or something?
It's 83.
Yeah.
And they're all unlocked from the beginning, so you don't need to,
Thank
fiddle
God.
around with codes or, unlocking shit.
So who's on it? Give us some name drop.
I mean, if I had to drop the biggest names, you have people like Queen, finally, in a Rock Band game. You have The Cure. You have, Huey Lewis in the News, which, falls nicely with the...
Still no Hoobastank. They do have him, though.
No, not yet. But, yeah, Huey Lewis, great with the 25th anniversary of Back to the Future. Yeah, you've got a lot of people in there. It's a good song selection. Harmonix really knows their stuff.
So people have been saving up, resisting the first couple of Rock Bands or Guitar Heroes. They're coming late to the party and they want to buy the entire kit out the door. This is a good investment, and then they can pick and choose what to download later.
Oh yeah, and just in general, Rock Band, believe has always had the stronger song selection than Guitar Hero. Plus, their DLC library is crazy. It's like 2,000 songs right now. So if you're holding off for a while on a music game, I'd say Rock Band 3 is worth jumping into again. The keyboards just add a great new dynamic to the fundamental gameplay, and it's a ton of fun.
All right, as everybody knows, I'm a huge fan of shooters on the PS3. I think the PS3 is the best console for shoot 'em ups. Apparently,
Are you for real?
no, I'm taking the piss totally. I've never
okay.
played it.
I've
I've never
never
played a shooter on the PS3 that I've actually enjoyed. So there you go.
Yeah, I think we actually had video proof of that when this game had its old beta.
Yes, actually, yes, yeah. I was not very good at it. I mean, I just don't get the feel for it. But Killzone 3 is now in beta, and you guys have been playing it. And have you been having much fun with it?
I think so. Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Good segment. Thanks, guys.
Yep. And with that, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah. No, but really though, I think if you were to pick it up, I think the overall feel of Killzone 3 is just a little bit better. It still has its own unique kind of, maybe characters feel heavy and, you have to get used to aiming. It sounds almost like I'm making excuses, and it didn't work too well in the past.
There's no need to
But
make excuses for my shortcomings
they
as a
have
game
some really
player.
cool shit. They have the classes are really good. They ripped off a little bit of Team Fortress with the Infiltrator and some other dudes. So
But no one's like defenseless. Like the medic can
everyone's
kill
good. Yeah, the medic-
motherfuckers, and
actually, if you level up the medic, you can get a little medibot that will fucking gun people down and then resurrect you after you go down, which is pretty appealing. We're still saving up for that though, because you gotta.
Justin wanted his
I'm
precious
spending all my
little
unlock
rifle.
points on sniper rifles.
So how does the game look? So the last time, when I played the Killzone 2 beta, I mean, one of the things I noticed is that it was just, shades of grey. Grey, more grey, just really dank and depressing. And is there any variety, any spice to it? I mean, I've got really, I don't think I'll be playing this game, but there are people who want to know.
Did you play Killzone 2 or?
No, I play my shooters.
That might have been why you didn't notice,
Well, I played the
Possibly.
beta. I mean, seriously,
I
I
played
actually,
the
I play my shooters on PC, and that's always the way it is. I'm a mouse and
I think
keyboard jockey.
there's one map. It's a frozen dam. It shows off kind of environmental effects. There's a lot of snow swirling around, and they have their water looks pretty good. They've shown it off a few times, and it's right there in the map.
there's one level of that like giant Stargate thing.
Yeah, there's one with a
whole
huge.
visual
It's a
effect.
turbine, and it'll
Yeah.
fry your electronics. I think it'll kill you if you're right in the middle of it.
Rather than gray and brown, you're treated to a one pellet per stage.
Yeah,
so that one is green, and then the
Yeah.
highway stage is like orange.
And the
Yeah.
game's alpha right now, and I think the frame rate definitely
It's
dips.
an alpha beta.
Yeah, it's an alpha beta. Can you say that in British?
Well, alpha beta.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
It's oddly like I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it is just the classes and stuff, because it feels already in this stage. It feels like there's a lot more like meat to it than Killzone 2's. I mean, Killzone 2 had a pretty solid multiplayer, but here we get into a lot of like there's some betas we're in right now that we can't talk about, but a lot of times they feel rough and you don't really want to like stumble through them. This is actually pretty compelling once you get over the kind of the small hurdle of like tuning your sensitivity and going through the alternative control
Yeah.
setup.
First, you want to like crank it up, and then you find yourself
then
just like
use-
way overcorrecting.
And then the
Yeah.
alt controls. There's still some weird little things. I kept getting stuck on some little, just like a little pile of dirt, like I wouldn't be able to run over.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
stuff
you
like
do that, or you'll jump and you'll just barely not clear it because you weren't standing at the right angle, and then so there's a little.
But the classes play
fudging around.
really well with each other. The stages have some interesting dynamics. Like Frozen Dam actually opens up depending. If you're just doing deathmatch, it's really
depending on
small.
the mode.
But it will actually like open up if you're doing some of the objective-based multiplayer, or the thing that I loved from Killzone 2 was where it will switch from like capture the flag to search and destroy to deathmatch within the match without having to reload. It makes for longer games, which is generally good, and you'll get rewarded. You'll get more of your little XP bonuses and stuff like that, so you can level up and unlock stuff.
Hey Justin,
yeah.
could you explain the whole cutscene thing and the multi-part kind of multiplayer?
Oh yeah, so there's a mode called Operations, and there's only one map, and it's on Frozen Dam, which is actually also the only map you can do guerrilla warfare on. So that's like kind of probably their most fleshed out or final or balanced map. But each team has an objective. One team has to attack, and the other team has to defend. And depending on the results, You'll see little cutscenes. Depending on your performance, your character could be featured in the cutscene. So, if you're
Could you
the
be negatively
MVP, then at
featured?
the end you'll be like bashing the prisoner's face in, and you're like, your teammates are high-fiving you. The guy who didn't do so well is in the background going, yeah, I helped. But he didn't
You
really.
see Dick Cheney waterboarding
But
people.
yeah, I mean, it's that kind of asymmetrical objective-based thing we've seen in a lot of games, like enemy territory games or whatever. It seems cool. They only have the one now, but I mean, yeah, like Ryan said, Warzone's probably the coolest because you're constantly switching objectives. You just got through defending your target from keeping the other team from planting explosives, and then you're selected as a VIP, and then you
jump
kind of
into the
set up
mech.
there. Dudes drop some turrets, rally around you, and then after that you have another objective. You have to go on the offensive, so it keeps you moving around the map. It's it's good, and the classes are just really cool. We do
Because you can unlock like spawn points. If you're one of the classes tactician, so you can actually unlock places where people can spawn in like closer to their objectives and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of teamwork. The medic can resurrect people. So
generally have the markers on the map. Like if you're a medic, you will see people who are down. You can go get them. If
So
you're
you can
trying
run
to
to
capture
them
an
just in
object and
time.
return it, you'll be able to see it. Even if you don't have it. So yeah, I mean, and there are definitely a lot of people there who are probably huge Killzone fans, and they're super well adapted to the PlayStation 3 controller.
it definitely still
FPSs.
feels like Killzone. There's that kind of like stop on a dime. Like zero inertia for when like you're aiming. So if you're like got a beat on someone with a sniper rifle, and you try to readjust, it can be a little weird with the acceleration especially when you're scoped in, and the guns can eat up a lot of the screen real estate as well.
Yeah, they do.
But
Like,
they
you
have nice
can-
reload animations.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, it's a fun time.
Will you marry me?
But we must have a ring to do this properly, right? For it to be official.
All right, finally this week, Fable 3. Now, Shane was supposed to be talking about this, but he obviously got pulled away to go and do something else. So it's fallen on me, which is not a hardship because I'm sure a lot of regular people know that I was a big fan of Fable 2. So I got the game yesterday, which is Tuesday, and I've put about 14 hours into it so far. And I gotta say, first and foremost, the game is gorgeous. I mean, it's certainly one of the best looking games I've seen on the 360 because that's the version I'm playing. And the engine really looks beautiful. The buildings are phenomenal. The character artwork is great. You do take a bit of a frame rate hit every now and again. There's a lot of the same problems that were in the last two Fable games. Too many characters on the screen. You go into what I like to call bionic mode, which is almost like slow mo, and then you get a lot of pop-ins when you go into new areas, especially out in the wilds. You'll get the mountains popping in, taking a couple of seconds to do that. But on the whole, the game is, it's certainly the most beautiful Fable game, one of the best looking games I've seen on the 360. Premise is actually very straightforward. You're the kid actually of your previous character if you played Fable 2 of the hero. So your big brother's a bit of a dick. He rules the country now, and you have to lead a rebellion against him, or lead a rebellion and then decide if you want to be a good prince or princess, or a bad prince or princess. Now, Peter Molyneux to me, and feel free to chip in with any questions, guys, if you got any questions about this game.
14 hours?
Yes, 14 hours.
Did you eat a lot of snacks?
Actually, no. I mean, and this is the first thing I noticed. This game, I haven't died once in this game. I haven't been knocked out once. I haven't died once, which is really bizarre for 14
meant in real
hours
life.
in. Yes, I ate.
Okay.
Thank you for my well-being. But yes, I ate. I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, not just on the couch.
No time for a shower though.
I showered. I did have a shower this morning, so I am relatively stink-free. But it's interesting. This the snacks thing. You have to eat. You'd eat a lot in Fable 2, and it would make you fatter, make you thinner, and that stuff is in
Did
there
they get
right
rid of
now.
that bullshit? Because that's kind of annoying.
It's in there, but not as much. I mean, it's very
Like,
much
oh no, I
toned
got
down.
fat. I have to eat 17 celery.
Yeah, I mean, it's still in there for you to mess around with, but it's not as overt. It's more hidden away. But one of the things I found is that the game is ridiculously easy. I'm 14 hours in. Like I said,
Shane said that.
And you can't make it harder either, right? There's no.
No, there's no, and there's definitely
sliders
a lack of options with regards to having multiple games running at once. They've done away with sort of like the life bar. The only time you get to realize if you're dying or not is when your little D-pad on the bottom left hand side of the screen starts to flash. So you really don't know how many life points you have to spend in the first place.
Is it flashing so you can quick heal?
Yeah, because it'll basically tell you can either eat a piece of food or use a health pack. But there were varieties of health packs in the last game, varieties of potions to bump up your spells, and all those are gone.
Death didn't even matter in the last game either. You'd lose your experience or bonus
thing,
and then you just respawn right where you were.
Scars, but I mean, at least there was enough of a challenge where you could go through the game and you get knocked out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Now, I mean, like I said, it hasn't happened to me once, and I've been through some pretty, tasty looking battles. And once you've got your powers, if you got the, for example, the magical powers, which you can dual wield now, you've got the same spells from the last one, but you have them on gauntlets, so you can actually, use the fire one and the vortex one, or the force push. But once you get those up to, say, level 3 stars, 4 stars, and you drop those powers straight away, you're pushing the bad guys straight out of the way. They're getting destroyed. Nobody can get near you. And it's always been the case with these Peter Molyneux games that they just don't like you dying for some reason.
They need force-resistant enemies.
Well, in place of a hard difficulty setting, do you feel that there are any aspects of the game where you can kind of impose a difficulty on yourself? Because I know the review stated that once you become king, you can choose to either rule with a gentle hand and at the cost of having a lower overall kind of like a wealth in the kingdom.
You can play. I mean, you could play as a bastard from the get go. I mean, from the first choice they give you, where you have to give a pep talk to the staff of the kitchen staff of your castle. You can either be nice to them, or you can give them a bit of a dressing down, and you get that option all the way through. And playing as the bad guy does make it a lot harder because people are more resistant. It takes longer to get gold. But it just seems, I mean, this seems like a way more linear Fable game than Fable 2 was, which goes against everything, again, Molyneux's been saying. It feels like, they've switched out the way you level up now by, instead of, using lots of, getting specific orbs for your powers, whether it be shooting, melee, or the magic, and then using those to upgrade your powers. You get guild seals, and you get guild seals for, doing nice things for people, completing little quests. And then you get to spend them on this thing called the Road to Rule, which is basically a bunch of quests. So, for example, the lightning spell will be 40 guild seals, or even if you want to unlock the entrepreneur pack, if you want to buy the shops, that'll cost you 20 seals. Whereas before, you could go in, if you had enough money, you could buy stuff. And I think that they've tinkered. They've looked at Fable 2 and it's like, okay, what could we have done better? And they've messed with some of the stuff that they really didn't need to fuck with. For example, another way of making money in Fable 2 was, you could be a blacksmith, or you could
the mini games.
The mini games.
Yeah.
And they've turned those mini games from being something that was relatively straightforward and easy to get into and get high multiplayers where you'd have the little little dot going across the screen. You hit the sweet spot. Now it's basically a Rock Band knockoff where you've got hit the blue button, hit the green button, hit the yellow button.
That's still kind of similar. I mean, they all have their own little mechanics, but I mean, they were all tedious as fuck.
Yeah,
but they were also rewarding because you had all the fucking high multipliers and you didn't want to stop. I think I served beer for 45 minutes, and I was like, why am I doing this?
They were tedious, but you get the great multipliers. But yeah, now I mean, they've got Loot Hero in there, pie making, and they are actually even more tedious because you can't even get a huge amount of multipliers going. I mean, I think I've got to about 11 on the multipliers before literally the thing dances up the screen so fast you're still pressing the first 2 or 3 buttons. Let me see, what else have they messed around with that really pissed me off? All right, this is an issue I had with Fable 2, and they have it in Fable 3. There's no multiple quest tracking. If you're doing an RPG, why the fuck don't you put in multiple quest tracking? And that's basically, if I'm going down to Bowerstone Industrial for one quest, I want to be able to complete 3 or 4 different quests down there at the same time, as opposed to popping back and forth to different areas. And this is something that, the only way you can do it, you go in, you complete one quest, then you have to return to your sanctuary, go back to the marker, hit the quest tab, and then pull up the next quest that's in that area. And that is just a fucking waste of time, especially when you've got so many FedEx quests. If you want to build relationships with anybody in the game, you have to do the little expressions. You dance with them, you play patty cake, then they'll give you a quest, which is a FedEx quest, either deliver or go and dig something up and bring it back to me. So if you want to build your reputation and get more guild seals, which you need to do to open up all the chests and get all the powers across the board, you have to do literally dozens and dozens of these poxy-ass FedEx quests.
Seems like if you're the king, you could have someone do that for you, right?
Yeah, but you're not. That's the thing. You
deliver this package.
Yeah, they don't give you that option because you're the prince who's helping the revolution against your brother. So it's all underground. You all have to do it yourself. So yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed, and it actually sucks for me because I mean, I'm 3 for 3 now.
Disappointed. In a Peter Molyneux game.
I'm disappointed.
Can you plant an acorn and watch it grow into a mighty oak?
No, you can't. I mean, there is no fucking acorn, seriously.
But I bet you can fart. Have you bought the fart expression yet?
I haven't bought the fart expression. You can be a bully. You can call somebody a chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have some stuff that's in there that's really quite fun. There is a mission that involves dropping into a D&D game. So you're in a game with.
I heard about that,
and it's kind of funny listening to the nerds talking about let's have the girl of Keth and let's do this and that. And then there's another random one where you have to act out a play.
Have you had sex with anyone?
I haven't had sex with anybody yet, but they do have a little sex tracker and how many STs. Yeah. No, I haven't had no sex in the game, no sex out of the game, I'm afraid. Voice acting is actually pretty good. They've got John Cleese, anybody who loves Monty Python. Stephen Fry is back
as guy.
Yeah, Stephen Fry is back as Reva. They have Zoe Wanamaker as the mysterious narrator, and then bizarrely enough for all you Brits, Jonathan Ross is in the game, who's a English chat show. Yeah, Jonathan Ross is Reva's sidekick. So if you know who Jonathan Ross is.
No, I don't.
All right, shut up. So he's a British chat show host, actually. So, the voice acting is really good. But overall, it just feels, as I said, they've tried to improve the game, but done it in areas that didn't need the work. And it seems to have lost a little bit of the soul. The second game was a really, it was quite funny, quite lighthearted, a lot of fun to play. You're in control of your character and you felt like you were in control.
So Fable 3 is a better looking Fable 2 that hasn't really pushed anything too much, even though it's a little more
serious. It's more serious. It's a different tone.
It seems more serious. It doesn't seem as much. I haven't had as much fun with Fable 3 as I had with Fable 2. So I wouldn't even say it's a better looking Fable 2. I would say it's a better looking alternate reality Fable 2.
Oh, fierce warrior! Are you here to join my army? Good. We shall face all our enemies together, won't we? Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
All right, that's the wrap on 131. We will be back next week with 132, I believe, Ryan. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that's how numbers work.
Fantastic. And we will be covering games and stuff that you like, and Shane will be back from his adventures in the desert. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the crew. Hope you enjoyed. We will see you next week.